So we're now done with the validation of the administrator account. So basically we added this line of code. This is where we ended our discussion last time. So we have your $_ session status negative less than 1. So basically, let me just try to explain it again. If the session status is less than or equals or less than 1 or equals to 0, then or session ID is empty, then we will again be redirected to our index page, wherein the index page contains our login page, which is this particular page. What we're going to do next is we're going to add already the categories and the navigations of our admin page. So as you can see, let me just try to go back here on my page. Okay, let me just try to reload. Okay. The dashboard is still currently just blank. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the navigation for our dashboard, wherein the users can already navigate. Okay. Let's try to code this time. But first, let's try to create 3 files. The navigation template, the header template, and the footer template. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to click here. Then let me just try to create new. Okay. File, save as. I'm going to call this file as admin.header.php. Okay, so we already have here admin.header.php. So what I'll be doing is I'm just going to copy this code. Okay, this is actually I got this one from my header.php on my for my users. Okay, or on using the users header.php. So I'm going to paste it here. So what I'll be doing next, since the bootstrap or the bootstrap folder is located outside of my admin page, I'm going to add .. Okay, same also with my styles, .. This one as well, .. and .. Okay. Next thing is let's try to add another file, new. Okay, let's try to call this one as our. Okay, let me just try to save it first. Admin.footer.php. Okay. So let's try to go back to our dashboard. Now let's try this time to add our header file. So include admin.header.php. Okay. Same also with our footer. Let's try to add it here, somewhere here at the bottom. Include admin.footer.php. Okay. Let's also try to close. Okay. Now what does our admin header contains? Okay. Let me just try to open here again the index page. Okay, let me just try to copy this part. Okay. Then let's try to add it here. Not actually the header page, the admin page. This is already our dashboard page. I mean. Okay, let me just try to paste it here. Let me just try to close this as well. Okay. Okay, let's try to see what happens. Let me open my web page. Now, as you can see, actually it's not visible on your end, but in my end, you can see that there's a thin gray line here on top. Okay, let me just try to show you by adding the class border. Okay, so it's already here on top. So we don't want this time to add fluid the fluid container on our, we don't want to use container fluid on our dashboard or on our admin page. So basically we'll just try to remove that one. Then okay, let's try to also to add my-5 or the my-5, meaning there's a gap from the top part of our page to our container. Okay, let me just try to show you. As you can see, there's already a gap on the top here. Okay, next is okay, so we already have it here. Okay, so another template that we're going to do is okay, let me just try to finish it first on our admin footer. Okay, again, I'm going to open my footer the footer of my user. Okay, I'm going to copy. Then I'm going to paste. Okay. They have basically similar functions. Otherwise, we're going to put something else also here on our admin.footer.php. Now, the next template that we're going to use is we're going to use navigation. So I'm going to click File, then New. Okay, let me just try to call File, Save As. I'm going to call this one as Navigation. Navigation.php. Okay, so go back to our dashboard. Okay, I'm going to include it here. Navigation.php. Okay, so I'm going to load the page again. Okay, it doesn't contain anything yet. Now, for our navigation, okay, so let's try to add this time dashboard. Then we also have our category. So for this session, we'll be working on our categories. Categories, then we have our products, then members, and of course we have pending orders. Then we have delivered orders. Okay, so I have to do this one. I have to remove orders so that it will be redundant. We have here pending and delivered. Okay. Now for our first dashboard, on our dashboard, I'm going to put this one as ahref, then dashboard. So I have to just slash and ahref categories at PHP. Then okay, we have here ahref products at PHP. Then ahref members at PHP. Then we were pending.orders.php. Try to add it again so that it will be clear for the users. Pending is somewhat vague. Okay, so it's pending.orders. Then we have last, we have ahref deliver.orders.php. Okay, those are only the two status of our order. So we won't be dealing that much with regards with regards to, like, for example, cancelled or so on. Let's just try to make a simple this is just a very simple shopping cart. This is just for actually student level shopping cart, but if you want to extend it, I think this is very much, this particular application can be extended or such improved in such a way that you can even use this one for actual shopping cart, although I won't recommend it. But with enhancements and additional code, I think this could be used as as a template for your shopping cart. Okay, so let's try to see this time what will happen. Okay, I'm going to go back here. Then okay, so we already have here dashboard, categories, products, and so on. Okay, so I have to go back here. So I have to add a little bit more. Okay, text center. Okay, well, it's okay actually for you to put it here on text center. Okay, next is okay. So to add P5, P4. So to check if it's possible. Okay, so that's padding. We added that. So to add padding 2. Okay, before I forget, okay, for navigation, the last part, of course, is our logout. Okay, so process the logout.php. We try to add also some confirmation. So on click, return confirm. Are you sure you want that? The file is not yet prepared, or it's not yet found here. So let's try to add the file. File, save as, process that, log, php. Okay. Dashboard. Okay. Now, once you've already created process.logout.php, okay, let's try to add the code. What we can basically do is we have here on our dashboard, try to copy this set of code, then try to paste it here. Now, since we already started our session, okay, let me just try to show you what I mean. I'm going to go back here, reload the page. Okay, let's try to remove this first. It's on the navigation part. Okay, let's try to remove. Back here again. So we have here logout. I'm going to click logout. There's going to be a confirmation. Are you sure you want to log out? If I'm going to click OK, okay, process.logout.php. Okay, so this time, you have your session start. Okay, so we already started our session, but since basically we will be checking if the status is negative, if negative, if it's 1 and less than 1, then also the session is, or the session ID is empty. Okay, let's try to create session destroy. So basically, session destroy destroys all of the session variables. So everything will be reset back to 0, or the status and the session ID will also be destroyed, or it will be emptied. Okay, so let's try this time to go back to our page, reload the page. Okay, it's not yet working. Okay, back here on our code. Let's try to check session destroy, print our session. So we are being redirected already. Okay, so to log in, log out, or to want to log out. Okay, so we have here session array and so on. Okay, reload the page, we're being redirected. Okay, so what we can basically do is we can just try to also delete this part. Okay. Try to go back here again, load the page, log in, log out. Are you sure you want to log out? Okay. Then if I'm going to click the back button, I will no longer be redirected back to my dashboard page. Okay. Now, what we're going to do next, we're going to create the pages individually. So we have how many pages? We have already done that dashboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to create next our categories. Okay, so we have your file, save as categories.php. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to our dashboard. Now, for our dashboard, try to add this one so that we will identify that we are currently in the dashboard. We have here H3. Welcome. H3. Okay. So, what we wanted to do is we wanted to check the user is currently logged in if it's possible. Okay. So try to go back here to our navigation. No, not navigation, but our process.login. So we have here username. Okay. So this is our username. Go back here, reload the page. Okay, welcome. Because we didn't add echo. Okay, so to add echo. Welcome admin at shoppingcart.com. Okay, so that's our login page. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to put it somewhere here on the side. I wanted to put it on the center because I have to remove this part. Okay. Also, same goes for this one. Let's try to put it on the side as well. Okay. So That's it. So we have here admin, welcome admin at shoppingcart.com. Okay. So this time, what else can we do? Okay, let's try to close this part. Then let's try also to copy this part. Okay, so basically what I did was try to copy this part and place it here. Then I also try to close this particular cap so that there will be a separation between the two. Okay, so there it is. Okay, I'm going to remove also. For the border, just to add one, so that it should be P2. So I can remove this part. Okay, P2, 5, and there's still a gap. Okay, let me try to add this one. Okay, so we don't need this one. Let's try to check. Okay, so this is it. So this is the final code, by the way. So we have here div class container my1 means that we have a border inside for this particular div 1, also for this one. Okay, so doesn't have any border at all. So that's it. So this will be the output. Okay, this will be the final output. Welcome admin at shoppingcart.com. Then we also have the following links. Okay, so let's try to click this time categories. Okay, so what we're going to do next is let's just try to copy the whole page. Okay, then put it here. Although actually, to be honest, what you can also add this part inside your admin header.php, but we won't be doing that for. Okay, let's try to do that. Okay, let's try to go back here on our dashboard. Let's try to add this part inside our admin header.php. Okay, this one. Now, okay, so going back here, try to go back here again, reload the page. Okay, this is inside our dashboard. So why did we add the session start as well as all of the rest of the session in our header instead of actually adding it on individual files? Because basically what we wanted to do is we wanted to let's say for example there are changes that we wanted to do on our session, or on our session code on this section part. So if we were to add it on individual sections or individual files, like for example in dashboard as well as in categories and so on, we will be editing the files individually, so it can be quite tedious if you have around let's say 100 files or so. But if we were to add it here, like say for example going back to categories, if I'm going to delete this part, if we were just to add it on one single file, then try to include it on the different files, try to use include on and to include it on the different files, we'll only be editing a single file. Okay, so that's what we wanted to do. That's why we only need to add it on admin.header.php. Okay, so this time I'm going to go back to my categories. Okay, then let me just try to add it here, categories. Okay, decide to go back here, reload the page, and here categories. So now that we're inside our categories already, so next thing that we need to do is decide to add our forms. Okay, now going back to our index. Okay, we have here, okay, let's try to use this one. I'm going to copy index that under index.php in my shopping cart admin. Okay, we have here this one. We'll just try to modify it. Okay, then okay, so let's try to call this one div class call sm 12 div. Then we have here the value. We don't want to use value anymore. Okay, placeholder. Categories. Okay. Now let's try to check what are the different fields on our categories table. I'm going to go back here on my browser. Then here. Okay, let me just try to check categories. So I have here structure. I have here category and description. I only have two fields. Okay. Okay, let's go back here. Call this one as category. Let's try to check. Okay, so it's small letters. Category. Also for this one, category. Okay. Let's try to reload the page. Okay, so we already have it here. Let's try to remove this part, categories. Okay. Back here again. Ready for category. Maybe we can make this one a little bit small. So instead of maybe making it 12, try to make it as 5. Okay. Okay, so it's already 5. Okay, so next is our so to call this one as 7. Okay, and this will be the description. Back here, then reload the page again. Okay, so we already have 2 columns. Now, okay, instead of maybe we can make this 4. Let's say to add the button here at the end. Make this one first. Make it 4. Then maybe make this one a 6. That's 10. Okay, so next is try to add the button. Okay, going back here on our index again. I'm going to add this one. Categories. Okay. So we have 2. Let's try 2, not 7. Should be 2. Let's try to see what the output is. We're still going to change this one. Okay, we have here button add category. Then save. For primary, okay, let's try to call this one as warning. By the way, in Bootstrap, there's different colors. Okay, so you can actually check the Bootstrap documentation. I'll be providing it also at the description link. Then for the different colors of the buttons. Going back here, time to check. We have here on top. Okay, so maybe we can add something like spacer for the label. It's actually what happens if you don't have a label. PSP. Save. So this is just for testing purposes. Button down. 4, 10, 12. Okay, so just try to do something else. Try to put it at the bottom. Try to add also this row. Div. Okay, let's try again going back here. Say to add 1. This will make this one as 5. Try to check this This one, this one is 7. Okay, so this is, okay, going back here. Okay, so we have here save. Let's just try to remove this part. Can't remove that part. Okay, so that's it. Save category. Okay, so this is actually the final output. So this is also our final code. So we have here, this is for the label. Then we added here for our form. Okay, then of course we also added here for our, we also added this code. Okay, let's try to make it a little bit small so that you guys can see. Okay, so these are again going back here. This is actually our final code. Okay, so we have here container. Okay, so this is where the navigation is included. Then for our categories, we also added the label. We use H3, heading 3. Then for our we added a new row. Okay, so basically this one is a new row wherein there's a category and description for our form. Okay. Next is we also added this row. This is the third row wherein we added our button. Okay. So for our fourth row, by the way, div class row p-2. Okay, so what will be the content of our fourth row? Okay, div class call sm12. Now this will contain all of our categories. Okay, so we're going to add our code here later for our table this time. So now let's try to add our process.category.php. So we have your file, new, okay, then file, save as, process.category.php. Let's click save. Okay, so basically process.category.php will be is a file that will be used to process all of the transactions that we needed for our category. So basically it's going to be add, edit, delete for our categories. Okay, so this is our category already. I need to add it here. Script language, JavaScript, then script. Okay. Again, we'll be using jQuery, button, add category, that. Okay, so this is where we're going to add our JavaScript, wherein we will be able to interact with our process.category.php. So on our next session, by the way, what I'll be doing is we're going to already do the interaction between our form and our database, and also on our table as well. So this is actually already the final code for our categories.php.